Madam Chair, you want to explain briefly?
Hi.
He'd like to address this for just 2 minutes, if you could, Mr. Chairman.
I think we have time.
I just wanted to talk to you guys just for a minute about detention center services. Currently, I believe Mitchell County uses the North Iowa Detention Center in Waterloo, and I'm not sure how all that affects or boards or who's on what or those concerns. I just wanted to bring up a cost issue. Presently, the North Iowa Detention is $125 a day. The Central Iowa Detention Center, Eldora, is $50 a day. And we have a young man that we're utilizing right now. Could be a long time, and that just would be something I think as taxpayers or people should explore the possibility of that issue. And again, I'm not advocating one service better than the other, and simply just from a cost standpoint, I think it's something.
Central Iowa?
Pardon me?
Do you work out of Central Iowa?
No, I work for Juvenile Court Services, so I have Floyd and Mitchell County are the two counties that I cover. And again, so I just bring it up as a concern because again, I think if we're looking at a case, could be temporary, kind of a long-term case for detention services, something to think about. So I didn't mean to jump in front of the meeting or agendas or all those things, but just and something we can visit at a later time if you want from me or whatever. So.
No, I guess.
Just a thought, yeah, because it's quite a difference. So anyway, there's only 2 minutes. Thank you, and I.
Item 5, approved resolution for joint urban renewal agreement for urban renewal area in Mitchell County, Iowa. Good morning, Jackie.
This would, I think, Sandy, do you have the Mitchell agreement? Did you go to Mitchell last week?
Right.
It's in the pile, okay. So we have all 8 cities that have done the agreement for the city county project. There was a question that came up last night about possible shed in St. Ansgar. That was not included because, number one, I didn't know about that. And you'll have to have acquired the property, so we have a legal description to put into that. But at some point, you certainly can make an easy amendment. It won't require a TIF district change into ordinances. So it's quite simple when you're adding property like that. But at this point, it is not included. So this is just authorizing the chair and the auditor to sign the city county agreements.
Chair and auditor sign the resolution for the renewal agreements for the renewal area in Mitchell County, correct?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution for joint urban renewal agreements for urban renewal area in Mitchell County, Iowa. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, Wolfinger.
Aye.
Walk.
Aye.
Morrell. Aye. Motion carried. Public hearing's not scheduled till 9:30.
Jump around or,
Pardon?
you can just jump around, I guess. We'll probably have to hold that at 9:30.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I'll just come at the, we do have the ag agreement also back, and we'll just handle that as part of the other following resolution, so that also will need a signature.
I read them online 2 or 3 times and read them here. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes of Mitchell County Board of Supervisors Tuesday, April 3rd, 2012. Roll call vote, Wolfinger.
Aye.
Walk.
Aye.
Aye. Look at claims. Everybody got a chance to look at them.
Yes, I did. So move to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Roll call vote, Walk.
Aye.
Wolfinger.
Aye.
Morrell. Aye. Motion carried. down to item 10. RFP for architects.
Well, I'm happy to report that's moving right along. And hopefully next week we'll have something for you to actually look at.
I forwarded the things from Alex. Item 11,
Excuse me.
discussion of possible action on gas
I think we're far enough along on the gas line. There's basically two options. One was the gas line coming from Emmons to Absolute down to St. Ansgar. The other, basically the less desirable one that I can, at least I feel it's less desirable because of, it does bring us more gas, but it brings us very little additional gas, would be from what they call the Fredericksburg Loop. Next week, well, actually by Friday, we should have two more rough estimates of the cost, where that is coming in. It looks like the north project seems very feasible, and at some point in time, I think we need to make a commitment that we're at least willing to pursue the idea. And I think that time really is right now that we should, because again, Friday, or not if, when they make the two additional rough estimates, we want to be able to present those next Tuesday already to Absolute, and Absolute boards of directors will be meeting, and there'll be time for them to make a decision. And I think we have to show that we're willing to commit before that time.
When you talk, did you have talked to anybody from ONU?
I have talked to Director Tice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
he indicate,
He indicated that basically they're very interested in looking at this north line.
well, I talked to one of the board members too, and he basically said they'd rather see the gas come from the north than the south, just because of the excess capacity and, so, yeah, Stan, you're probably right, I mean,
Yeah, that has the most opportunities for Mitchell County in the long run, and therefore I'd like to move that Mitchell County Board of Supervisors support committing up to $6 million of TIF monies towards a new natural gas line as a public-private partnership.
I'll second that.
I just can't see that Mitchell County would want to commit $6 million to that project, so, but we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
It's, if we're gonna grow, somebody's gonna have to do something, and it's only up to 6 million, doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna do it, and the wheels could fall off this thing real quick. If it has to come from the south, it's gonna cost even more money than,
I just think that's too much public money. I think there should be more private investors involved. With the glut of natural gas that's out here,
bring your checkbook,
Well-
we'll let you in.
I might do that.
No, I'm just,
But I think with the glut of natural gas out here, they're gonna stop drilling because there's so much excess right now. I think that maybe they would wanna put in some more money into finding an outlet for this stuff. And that's just my personal feeling.
Well, past history for the last 40 years is that gas companies do not build excess capacity into a system. And so unless we're willing to make the commitment ourselves, there will be no private industry making that commitment.
there are, yeah, right. Back to your statement, Bob, on not drilling so much more for natural gas now, that's true. Natural gas rigs have declined over the last 2 or 3 years because we had so much natural
Is this open for public discussion or not?
Discussion is on the agenda. If you have an opinion, I'd like to hear it.
Well, I just wondered, don't you suppose that cable companies and electric companies and every other company that digs underground or above ground will want Mitchell County to promote their whatever they're providing?
No,
Why? You've set a precedent of paying for natural gas coming in. Why wouldn't the cable company say, well, geez, do ours?
Well, if I read everything right, Mitchell County will be getting somewhat of a return on this natural gas.
Well, that could well be, but you still you got 6 million, I guess you said now. $6 to $8 million you gotta advance through TIF, apparently.
it would be through TIF. So, basically, the property taxpayers of Mitchell County would not be, putting money into the project per se.
Isn't TIF money, tax money?
TIF money is tax money.
Yeah,
But
well,
it's
same
not.
difference.
Somebody's gonna pay for it.
That's
I
right.
don't care how you do it.
But it would
Somebody
be an
paid for it.
asset, it would be an asset to the county. It's not, this is something that, is going to be revenue producing to the county.
Oh, you figure that.
Because we will get a transportation charge on the gas that's flowing through the pipeline. And so this will be a revenue producer.
Well, it just depends on if this board or whoever decides to get into the public domain. I mean, I don't think. Because somebody, the TIF money, while you advanced that, you could have lowered on that, and all these other TIF projects, you got 40, if everything comes to place, you got $44 million in TIF money. While it doesn't increase the taxes to people, it could have lowered the taxes significantly. You could have lowered the taxes. Just that I haven't checked how much, but just on the windmills, you could have lowered the taxes a lot. But they didn't go up because you did it from TIF.
But on the other hand, you also lower the taxes in the same proportion for the windmills that you would for all of the other properties. And part of what the advantage of using TIF is that the state of Iowa backfills the school portion, 87.5% they backfill. And so basically, we were able to use TIF monies to upgrade our roads, and the state of Iowa helped to pay for our upgrade. Whereas if we didn't use TIF monies, the local property taxpayers would have had one of two choices. They would have either had to pay for the whole upgrade themselves, or we would have been turning some of our hard surface roads back into gravel roads. That was the choice that we had. And so by using TIF, we're actually able to bring state monies in to help Mitchell County, which is a benefit, a great benefit to the taxpayers of Mitchell County.
Well, that's your opinion, I don't believe it.
Well,
The
you're
school,
alone.
the school on their equipment and renovation projects, they are beat out on the revenue that would have been. Yes, they are.
The schools, we had contacted all three superintendents before we ever talked about using TIF. Plus, I spent over an hour visiting with Ed Kleinworth, and Ed totally agreed with us that this was the best use of the TIF money to help also the schools because of the bus routes, that they're gonna have safe routes. And Ed also, like I say, concurred with our use of TIF that,
Well,
well, I'm just trying to explain, Don, we did go right away at the beginning, I made a trip to each superintendent, to their offices. I went to Riceville, I came here to Osage, I went to St. Ansgar. And,
Mhm. You get 44, somebody's gotta come up with 44 million bucks.
Chairperson Morel, I just wanna make sure everybody's clear, when you deal with tax increment financing, and we always say, well, the school districts aren't getting any new taxes. Well, in reality, we've been blessed with a lot of new tax base. While we've used TIF as a tool to reinvest in our infrastructure, there are things that we cannot pull into a tax increment financing project, and that is the instructional support levies at our school, any debt levies, and our pebbles. So our school districts throughout our county have been blessed with additional tax dollars at a much higher rate than most rural school districts in Iowa. Because, for example, grain millers, while we've used tax increment financing to support all of the infrastructure requirements for that project, it has created quite a lot of new taxes to support Pebble, instructional support levy, the debt levy that was still left on the middle school, which is now gone, the debt levy of the county. Those are things that cannot be pulled in. So while people say TIF hurts the taxpayer, well, in many ways, we are getting a larger share of dollars back to some of those things to support those levies than other rural counties because of our development. So I wanna make sure that people understand there is new tax dollars as a result of these economic development projects going to our school districts and going to service our debt levies in our communities and at the county.
Thank you. I'm not opposed to the project, I just think,
I got a question, is what's
Go
the
ahead.
excess capacity in the gas for St. Ansgar right now?
None.
no,
So at some point in time, if you get that new industrial park up there, and somebody comes in and say they're a really large gas user, well, they're probably not gonna be able to come because there's no gas.
That is a correct statement.
You know, and if we rely only on the line coming up from Osage, which also serves St. Ansgar, I mean, there's no large capacity there, so. The other way to look at it, it does set Mitchell County in sort of a advantage if we had that gas capacity, because if I was an industry, I'm gonna be looking at where I can get gas, I mean, it's,
as an economic developer, Ms. Dreyer, how would considerable excess capacity put us above a lot of the other places in the state of Iowa?
You can't compare natural gas to other utilities, especially just because it's regulated at a federal level and done differently than service territories for electric, cable, those sorts of things. And that's been kind of the challenge we've faced over the last couple of years with gas shortages. It first surfaced when we did the Absolute project. It doesn't make any sense, but if you're a project looking to come to an area and there isn't an adequate gas capacity to serve your project, and by goodness you wanna go there, you have to foot the bill of all of the improvements to support you coming, even if those improvements are 3 states away. So unless we deal with something as it relates to the capacity of our gas, industries are not gonna come here if it means upgrading gas lines when they can go somewhere else in Minnesota, somewhere else in Iowa that has capacity available. And so we are greatly inhibiting the ability to attract industries that require a large amount of gas because they're gonna be faced with an infrastructure improvement. You know, Valent, because this is a new facility, there isn't one like it in the world. We knew they needed lots of electricity, we dealt with that. It wasn't until we've moved into final engineering that the gas need is surfaced. And so, you know, everybody says, well, why didn't they know? Because there isn't a plant. And so that brought it on. Absolute continues to need, and the fact that grain millers cannot really grow and expand because they don't have gas. So it's, we've got 3 good users that can put revenue into a system to help justify the investment by the private-public partnership. we're not alone with capacity issues in Iowa, but there are places that have capacity, and we are at a disadvantage attracting industry really until we figure out this gas thing and put some capacity in. And because we don't want the taxpayers of Mitchell County to shoulder this alone, we are looking to our industries and our other private utilities to come together to make this work, so that together we can benefit. It's not a single user right off the bat, we have 3. And ultimately, excess capacity in gas will hit all of us that pay a natural gas bill in this county. By creating capacity, we can't continue to be held hostage by the fact that we don't have enough supply being delivered in. So ultimately, with time, as we continue to grow our gas infrastructure, this should be a savings to all of us as we continue to enhance the supply that's coming in. So that's my perspective, Supervisor Watt. I know it's complicated. There's a reason we haven't dealt with it, but it's to the point it has to be dealt with. If we're gonna continue to move forward, and our option is to stay where we're at and continue to, face more constraints. It's not there is natural gas out there. Our biggest problem is the infrastructure to deliver it to Mitchell County. And that's where the real constraints fall. We're at the end of a line essentially, and as loads come on south of us, they don't care. And right or wrong, that's how the system works, and we've tried to fight the system, and that's not gonna work, so we have to take care of considering alternatives that'll fix our problems under our control.
Thank you.
What did it cost to have the electricity brought in to the county?
I don't know.
Probably 0.
That's what I'm getting at right there. So why should we have to pay so much for gas?
Because they won't bring it in.
They're the ones that are making the money off of it.
They're not willing to bring it in, so
Well, then something should be done about that.
We've tried.
Well, it depends on, whether the governmental, I see your columns a lot of times stand in, government's messing in stuff and they're messing in this. They shouldn't do it. Now you're messing in the gas companies. And I don't know why the taxpayer has to foot the bill for this, $8 million. And that's not all, you've got a lot of other things here, which I can understand. Wastewater treatment center, treatment, Mitchell County's 11 million estimated, I don't know what it's gonna cost. You got 8 million here, you got 20 plus another, I don't know how many million, taken away, diverted from the windmills to the roads, which adds up to somewhere in the neighborhood of $44 million. And why the taxpayer has to be responsible for that? Because you can reduce the taxes significantly, just on the windmills alone. And I always have been a advocate of a little old lady, as they say, who was living on a very fixed income. And you didn't reduce her taxes, or their taxes. And that's what I object to.
well, we have a choice right now of basically one of two things. We can either be stagnant as a county that we have been for how many years, we continue to lose population, and we have not had new growth, or we can be progressive. And I would rather err on the side of being progressive, trying to create a future for future generations. I myself have no children, I have no grandchildren, but there's a lot of people here that do, and I really feel that being progressive, trying to enhance the vision of Mitchell County, we are one of the premiers here in the last 5 or 6 years. A lot of it has to do with this little lady over here. And We have brought industry in and we can continue, but we have to have the tools to bring them in, so that, we have a vote, do we have to do?
I know, we have
Okay.
a public hearing.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second on your roll call vote, Walk,
Aye.
Wolflander.
Aye.
I will vote nay, I'm not opposed to the project, I'm opposed to the $6 million. I'd like to find some more private players. Motion carried. It is 9:30. The public hearing on designation of expanded Mitchell County urban renewal area and on proposed urban renewal plan. Supervisors, have you heard any comments, written or oral?
I have none.
Auditor?
No, have not.
The only one I heard was when they're gonna start.
Okay, well, I guess we can open it up to the public now at this time, if there's any comments from the public.
So is this from the other discussions I've heard, this is just adding the roads and all county property to the urban renewal plan, is that what it, basically it is? And the communities, were they all added, I mean, all the, was that part of like the, because you had to get some kind of permission from St. Ansgar and,
Anytime land is added to an urban renewal plan in a county, the cities have to give permission because they have territorial control over 2 miles outside of their jurisdiction.
oh, I got it, I didn't know that, okay.
And in addition, there are some county facilities in towns like these.
Mm-hmm.
So the cities have to agree that they will approve those placements in the urban renewal plan. And then,
Okay.
of course, the Valent property is being included.
And all of the required cities have signed,
Yes.
on or off, however you look at it.
My understanding is, yes, that we have all 8 agreements.
Was in McIntyre last night.
Thank you.
Any other?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
does Valiant, are they gonna get any additional tax rate, tax abatement, or any other?
No.
No, actually, what's going to happen is, as of right now, the plant is not even, valued at enough monies to, pay for the, pre-treatment facility. And so they are voluntarily going to pay additional property taxes in order to pay for the pre-treatment. And this is how they planned on paying for that pre-treatment is through the taxes, which we can use for TIF. But like I say, they're going to pay additional property taxes that they otherwise would not have had to pay in order to make this work.
So nobody's gonna give them tax abatement or postponement,
No, they will be paying their full share of taxes and then some.
as you did with the ethanol plant?
No.
No, the ethanol plant, and keep in mind, the ethanol plant, when it was said and done, did not get 100% of tax abatements. They are paying with their gas usage on replacement tax, I believe it's about $175,000 a year of replacement and property tax.
But they're off the hook for 20 years, right? They won't have to pay any complete property tax for 20 years?
For 10 years and then 95% after the next 10.
You graduated after that, and
It just, no, it drops 5%.
yeah,
Yeah.
it goes down 5%.
This project is paying their property taxes, and the property taxes are being directly to support the infrastructure improvements. There are no other local property taxes being used to support the project. There are state incentives, but there are no local incentives. It is not at all like the ethanol project.
And again, the property taxes are really being focused on improving Osage's wastewater treatment plant, which is taxable, tax exempt debt. So that will really enhance everybody's opportunities. And then through assessment debt, their own pretreatment system is going to be paid for.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so then the bonds that were sold to pay for your share, those will be paid for by,
Well, nothing's been done yet.
no, I
But
know, but they will be paid eventually. It won't be just county's debt, right? It's,
It'll be
paid for.
assessment debt.
right, okay.
Which is a somewhat unusual mechanism, but the county will establish a special assessment district around that property, just like if you live in a town and they assess your streets.
Sure.
The difference is that if you live in a town and you're assessed for any improvements, you're required, by state law, it cannot cost more than 25% of the value of the property. Well, they have to waive that. I mean, they're paying the entire bill.
Okay.
It's just they chose to have this, to use this tool, this mechanism. So the TIF will pay part of that, and they will pay the rest out of their own, cash flow as an assessment.
Any other comments? If not, we close this portion of public hearing. Move on to item 7, approval of a resolution to declare necessity and establish an urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.4 of the Code of Iowa and approve 2012 urban renewal plan amendment for the Mitchell County urban renewal area.
Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the resolution. Roll call vote, Hoaglander.
Aye.
Watt.
Aye.
Morel, aye. Motion carried. Item 8. First reading of the ordinance establishing the 2012 addition to the Mitchell County Urban Renewal Area Tax Increment Financing District.
So moved that we waive the first and second readings.
I'll second that. Waiving of first and second reading.
Have a motion to waive this first and second, move to the third. Roll call vote, Watt.
Aye.
Hoaglander.
Aye.
Morel, aye. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to vote on the third.
I'll make a motion to waive.
Okay.
Pass the
Hoaglander
resolution on
moves.
the third
Second.
reading.
Mark seconds. Roll call vote to vote on the third reading. Hoaglander.
Aye.
Watt.
Aye.
Morel, aye. Motion carried.
Thank
very much.
you. We will have new plans with all the exhibits for you and for Lowell to be able to record. And we are working on the development agreement. As you know, it's out for review, and we hope to be moving ahead.
When did that come back?
Well, you may have seen the email yesterday. We'd like to move that up 24 hours. It was to be back on Thursday, but we'd like that up by Wednesday because the company will be in town. And so to expedite the process, we'd like to be able to sit down with them and go through it and get their comments. Because this is an international company, we have lots of layers. So we're trying to move this through the process as easily with due diligence.
Just one quick question. Exhibit C, did we have to act on that separately, or?
Well,
That's what I was just checking
Lowell
with
was
Lowell about.
asking, I thought we did, but Lowell asked John Danos, who said it was just a part of the actions.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
would have, I would have had a special resolution for
Sure,
you,
no,
but,
no problem.
as
Just
part of
wanted
the
to
actions.
double check as long
Yes,
as we're.
thank you.
You too.
Exhibit C is just the new colored map, right?
Excuse me?
And the descriptions?
No, that's the agricultural side.
This is the agricultural exhibit, where the company signed it, and there has to be they have to request, because it's agricultural property, which they have done. And so now the format is just to have you sign it, and we'll get all of this back to them also. So they all have original copies and the towns will also get their copies back of originals.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, thank you. Yes?
well, before the public hearing, you called for item C, and we didn't hear we couldn't hear back here. It was the
Item C.
RFP for architects. You called that item, but I think Joel said something, but we couldn't hear what was said about that.
Item 10, you mean?
Yeah,
RFPs for architects?
yeah,
Joel said there was nothing to report.
okay, well, we couldn't hear back here.
Okay, well,
That's right.
sorry.
But I thought you said everything was moving along. So,
It is.
in what way?
I'm not gonna discuss it with you, I don't have to, and like I said, I told Bob and Stan here today, it is moving along, and I hope to have something for them next week that they can look at. I'm not gonna share what I have right now with them, because then it becomes a public document, and then everybody vultures right on top of it, so. When it's time, it'll be time. I'm sorry if that's not a good enough answer for you, but that's what I have.
Well, it is public business,
Exactly.
but you're not sharing it with the public?
I don't have to. I'm working on it. It's not done yet. I mean, I don't know that there's.
Don't have anything to
Do we have a
report.
committee on this, Bob? Okay.
No, no committee.
That's the trouble.
Item B, manure management plan updates.
Okay, we have one from Mark Tice in, section 29 of Douglas. No changes. We have one from Carl and Misty Tice for the Gendre Port. And that is in section 31 of Union Township. No changes.
Union?
That's what it says.
That may be where they're spreading.
A long ways from south of New Haven to Union Township.
It says 4672
Maybe
Glass
they have
Avenue,
maybe they have,
Ray. JEN
Wasn't that the old, wasn't
RA
that,
Pork.
wasn't that the old,
Is that Bill Kleckner?
no, what, the previous, he was the ag instructor years ago at St.
Oh,
Reason?
Inman.
Hinman.
Inman. Was,
Dave Hinman.
yeah, because, I mean, yeah,
That's
it's on
probably
right west
his.
of Toterville there, and, I mean, that's part of,
That's
I
probably
think they
it.
bought those.
yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Oh,
I think that's the properties.
they bought it.
Got one more, Bob.
Okay.
Got Robert Neese, section 3 of Burl Oak.
Neat,
Neat.
Neese.
neat. Circuit court report.
So noted?
Back to number 10. For the public, I am working on the RFP. It's probably about 3 pages long right now. And when it is done, I will share it with Bob and Stan first, and the county attorney to look it over. At that time, it will be on the agenda, and anybody who wants to have a copy of it, then it does become a public document. But I spent most of last week and weekend reading over RFPs for that type of structure, so that's where we're at. Other than that, it's not a finished document, so it may change somewhat over time. I mean, the next week or so, I hope to have it by next week, I really do. So that's where it's at. I don't mean to be short with you or anything like that, but
Thank you.
pressure, you know, get it right, so.
Well, take your time and do it right.
Well, I think I'm on the right, I'm addressing a lot of things that we have seen in the other 2 projects that we have done, and we don't wanna go down those trails again, and so, you know, those things are gonna be addressed in
Okay, thank you. Nothing else for the good of the cause, we'll adjourn. Get funeral yet. Have something for me to sign,
fall off, I guess.
Well, thanks for coming.